Hi everyone, thanks for tuning into another episode of OPES. If you're new here, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell so you don't miss out on any of our awesome content. And if you want to support the channel even more, be sure to check out our Patreon for extra episodes and exclusive content. Links in the description. Thanks for listening and let's jump in, baby. Well, hello everyone, and it's that time of year again. The fall decorations are coming down, and Mariah Carey's invading the radio waves. Yes, that's right, we're approaching the holiday season, and all I want for Christmas is to thank you for listening to another jolly episode of Ordinary People, Extraordinary Stories. Now, I am your head elf, Tristan, and today I'm talking to a very special guest. You see, last year I got a chance to interview a professional Santa. That's the Secret Santa Club episode. If any of you haven't listened to it, it's really good. Probably one of my best. Just want to shout that out. But this year, that same Santa, he was able to help me get a hold of the real Santa Claus. That's right, Mr. Chris C. Kringle himself. Stop by before his big day to answer some questions and talk about the real reason for the season. So, with all that being said, I want you to relax, grab the ugly Christmas sweater, and get ready to deck those halls for another ordinary person with an extraordinary story. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Ordinary People, Extraordinary Stories. I'm a little short of breath because I have the actual Santa Claus on here. It was insane. The fact that I got a handwritten letter from him. You have gorgeous handwriting, by the way, and a
Oh,
red and
thank
green
you.
card.
I think it's kind of messy, but
I got it in the mail and I was just stunned. And he knew the one thing I wanted for Christmas this year, and that was for this podcast to succeed and grow. And he's like, "Why don't I come on your show?" And I was stunned that you even offered. I hit up the Easter Bunny and he was busy, but
yeah, he likes, he's on the move a lot. And as it gets closer and closer to his day, um, he's less and less available. But
well, if you want to talk to him, I'm always available. But you know what? We're not talking about the Easter Bunny. We're talking about the real Santa Claus. So I just thanks for coming on.
all right.
This is exciting. I mean, I don't even know where to begin. I guess could we maybe start from the beginning? So how did Santa Claus become
Santa
Santa?
Claus. Well, okay, so there are a whole bunch of different traditions. A lot of the Western culture ascribes to the birth of Saint Nicholas of Myra, which puts me at something around 1700 and just shy of 1800 years old.
You look great, by the way.
Thank you,
Like
thank you. I
that's
appreciate that.
wow. Lotion, is that the secret?
Lotion and the magic. The elves keep me moving, and that helps. But the Nicholas of Myra was a gift giver and known for that. There are other traditions that all feed into who is Santa Claus as well. There's one for the Allfather, Odin, in Norse and Viking mythology, where at one point, I can't remember the exact story, but one of the stories is of Odin riding across the sky with an eight-legged horse, raining things down. So eight. Let's see, eight-legged horse, eight reindeer. Well.
There you go. I remember that myth actually. It's I only hope you didn't make the horse like you did the reindeer because I think
No.
Loki was involved. It was
No. Loki gets in the way. He's a bit mischievous.
oh that's yeah, that's
That
a
might
name
be an
for it.
understatement.
A little bit. So, well, okay. So, I mean, so I guess that's the thing. It's like you can't really claim one way because it's just this even a tale as old as time, I guess.
Yeah, there are traditions all over the world of gift givers that evolved into what people now know me as just Santa Claus, at least in much of Western Europe and the United States, Canada. There are different names for me all over the place.
Right.
Each comes with a different tradition. What most of modern North American culture thinks of as Santa Claus was heavily influenced back in the, I don't know, 1920s or 30s
Hmm.
by Coca-Cola choosing to use Santa Claus as an advertising icon.
Did you get rights or royalties for that? They ask you?
No,
Okay.
no, they did not ask, but the red of the suit that they used, being the Coca-Cola red, became so popular that I kind of had to have the elves make one because there are some people that's what they
Wait.
expect to
So,
see.
so you're telling me that red suit, that really Coke just invented that for us? Because I thought I
Yes,
always, because that's unfortunate because that's we now represent you always with red, and that's
yeah,
wow.
yeah.
Okay.
Well, and there are a number of other traditions as well, but that one, because it's such a giant company and it has such a reach to so many people, and so many people know that color. It worked for them. Prior to that, I wore a lot of earth tones.
Hmm.
Greens, browns. You would have thought more of older Father Christmas type imagery.
I always thought Father Christmas also wore. Granted, maybe I'm thinking of the like the berries in his hair were red. Maybe that's the red I'm thinking of, but
The Holly King
yeah.
tradition, and also evolving from that into Father Christmas with the longer robe.
So if I can understand this, so it's just kind of like it's been you're technically all those things,
Yes.
but because they've been changing, I guess you've been changing to the point where I guess what are you now, Santa?
Well, now some would some non-believers would tell you, oh, he's a myth, he doesn't exist.
I clearly have you on the show. How is that possible? You can't be a myth if I have you here.
All evidence to the contrary, right? There are, in Europe right now, because of modern cultural sensibilities, one of the traditions that is changing is that a longtime character with Sinterklaas as an assistant that would help with handing out the the candy or the punishment is no longer called Schwarz Piet. He's now called Sooty Pete.
Hmm.
And the in the tradition that actors are portraying the part, they now are using whatever actor is able or available and can play the part, and they fill the beard and some of the skin with soot.
Hmm.
Well, that works because we're going down chimneys a lot.
Wait, are we talking about oh, Black Pete? I can see
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
not
The older name is Schwarzpiet
Schwarzspeed. Schwarzspeed. Okay. I mean,
because it's Dutch.
and that makes sense because, like I said, it's that's how you're entering the house, and you naturally just get
Yeah.
pull on your face, and
Well, and look at that recent film by I guess it was a Netflix original. I don't know who made it.
the animated one, right?
No, the
Klaus.
Christmas Chronicles with Kurt Russell in it.
Yeah, that's oh yeah,
His
okay.
beard was not, this color, snowy white. It was somewhat dirty looking with the soot
To
stains.
be fair, I think that's just because Kurt Russell doesn't want to really show his age. That man wants to. That man, I love the man. Which was he good this year? Was he?
He was. He
Okay,
was.
good. I love the guy. I want him to stay good.
As was Goldie. I'm not so sure about their daughter, but we'll see.
Well,
The list is not done yet.
Eh, well, that's a great segue because I always wanted to know. So and again, big questions, but how, I know the answer is you check it twice, but how do you really know someone's naughty and someone's nice? And then I'll even give you another one. Have you ever gotten it wrong, or maybe give someone that deserved a toy pull, and vice versa, someone that didn't deserve a toy got one instead?
it it does sometimes happen that our validating of the lists at the time they're validated is correct, and then something changes between then and delivery day. Not a lot, but it does happen. In terms of how do we check it twice? What do you think all those elves on the shelves are for? And it
Hmm.
used to be possible I could send a few elves out into the world to, skip about by magic and check on people and watch their behavior, check their heart, right? And now there are too many children. There are too many people. So we decided, okay, let's start this elf on a shelf tradition. And the kids seem to love it, right?
Hey,
Because
well,
the elf shows up.
it
Some of them
works.
are a little mischievous,
Yeah.
but
Well, okay, so, but is that not to, and you're probably not telling me all the secrets, because I mean, hey,
oh
Santa's got to
no,
be a step ahead of the kid.
no, I'd be in trouble if I did that.
But what about the people who don't have elf on the shelf, or who maybe hide the elf?
Well, those are ones that are either questionable or that we have to actually go and check on. A lot of times we'll be out and about and we'll just see them, and there's a quick look and a check, and it's it's all about the heart, right? Nice or naughty is sort of absolute terms
Hmm.
in the English language, and if you categorize somebody as naughty because of something they did, because of a single action, that that might not necessarily be fair, right? There are people who are nice people and very genuine when you meet them, but in their heart, there's a darkness, right? And
Hmm.
they work toward ends that are not friendly and not kind. There are people who are you might think are very dark, but they aren't really, right? They're going to do the right thing. They're going to do the nice thing. They're going to help people out.
Hmm.
Um, so it's
You-
it's a it's a job to figure it out.
and I hate to dig, but I mean, could you maybe tell us one of those times where maybe you fumbled the decision, and maybe like what happened to that either that kid or like were you able to rectify it?
Well, not not really. I mean, there's of course, it's same with confidentiality in any other situation in human society. Um, if I were to tattle on a child, right, that wouldn't be real fair to him. It would engender or generate resentment and maybe enforce something that I would rather not. You know,
But you were able to rectify the situation. It's the most important thing. Is that maybe
sometimes, yes,
sometimes?
yeah.
Okay,
There
that's
are
fair.
people that do go
Fair.
off the rails and stay that way, for which I have a naughty list. You
Hmm.
know, that's what happens.
All right, amen. That's exactly what happens. Well, one of the theories I had as far as like you kind of keeping an eye on everybody was that, and again, correct me if I'm wrong, but all of the Santa, all the kind of the other Santa, I don't want to say imposters because well, I mean, there may be some,
They're helpers.
but
And some of them, believe it or not, are my brothers and sisters.
really, okay. I
Oh yeah.
was wondering if they just reported to you, if they were like kind of like a working
No,
kind of
no.
relationship.
We have family reunions periodically around the world at different places,
Okay.
and every once in a while, we have to decide, okay, am I still driving the sleigh or is it time for somebody else?
Hmm.
So,
Okay. Interesting. Okay.
when the children, when they see Santa, whether it's me or one of the relatives or one of the assistants, actors, things like that, they know. They know in their heart who is a real Claus,
Hmm.
who's the real Santa. But the one they see and meet and believe is the real Santa might not be the one that's driving the sleigh that year.
Interesting. So everyone just takes turns, so it's not always you driving the sleigh, it could be somebody
It's
else?
it's usually me, but every once in a while, like I had one year, the elves keep telling me not to do this,
Oh, oh
but
gosh,
I
please
went,
tell me. I need to
I
hear this.
went, and I was officiating at a hockey game at the North Pole, One of the polar bears got a little too rowdy, and I ended up with a knee problem, and couldn't get in and out of the sleigh fast enough.
I can imagine.
So we had to have one of the brother-in-laws fly the sleigh that year, and the elves got it all in shape, and they showed him what to do and helped him out. So
That's incredible. I mean, and good for you for being able to kind of call Andrew and say, "Hey, I don't think I can do this a few million times, but
yeah, yeah, because as you go down a time zone, each time zone takes basically a full hour at midnight
oh gosh,
to deliver everything. So you start in the north and you go south,
you
and you go as
know,
fast as you can and deliver everything. And the elves have the next load staged at the South Pole, so you pick it up there and turn around and go back north on the next time zone. That way, it's always midnight when you're there.
oh my, I didn't even think about the other pole. I always thought that everything was just done at the north. This is
Oh
okay.
no,
So
it takes a long time to stage it up.
okay, Santa, I'm gonna probably hitting you with a lot of questions. Well, first off, I understand your pain because I recently broke my ankle and
Yes, I knew that.
of course you did. I know Santa, you know me, but it's a little not the question I want to ask, but just something I was thinking about. So when you
Okay.
took it easy that one year, was it easy to kind of get right back on the sleigh, or did you enjoy maybe the night off? Because I can imagine that's a lot of work. Even though you work one day a year, that's
Oh,
a lot.
it was a challenge, because every time the sleigh returned to the north to reload, I was there helping and supervising and coordinating the elves, getting all the things in the right order in the sleigh, and so it's a different job. Normally, one of the head elves handles that, or Mrs. Claus. She's really important. Sometimes the kids will ask, well, how do you visit them all in the same night? And I have to tell them, well, it's based on what a time zone is, right? How your grandma over on the East Coast, it's a different time when you call her, or somebody in Japan, it's a different day if you call from the United States to Japan, because it crosses a date line,
Right.
where people set the boundary. It has to do with the time zones. We're really, really fast, right? But we can't warp time.
If I'm mistaken, or if I'm not mistaken, so it almost takes, I guess that would be a whole hour per time zone to get the
Yes,
gifts. And you mentioned, okay, so is it you go to the North Pole to the time zone to the North Pole, or do you go North Pole, time zone, South Pole, reload,
yes,
and then up and
yes.
down, up? Okay.
And here's another little secret. There's more than one sleigh. We have two for the delivery night. We
Okay.
start in the north, and they stage up the several days ahead of time. They stage up the second one, hidden away in Antarctica. And as we when we're done with the last delivery in a time zone going south, we head straight there. The deer have a few minutes. The reindeer have a few minutes to grab a snack and some of their favorite moss, which gives them a lot of energy.
Yeah.
Um, and meanwhile, the elves have already preloaded the sleigh that's sitting there, and then they hook everybody up, and off we go. And we leave the empty one there, which they then fill with the next load. Um, we go back north, and same thing there. Oh, excuse me, there's three sleighs.
Yeah, I was just thinking about because that's the one in between.
They have one ready when we get there. Yeah,
Okay. But that just still blows my mind. That I mean, it does make way more sense. It's like, yeah, you three slice, that's how we make it happen. Just boom,
yeah.
back to back to back. It's still though, in one
There's a
night.
lot of magic involved.
Well,
It just can't all be magic.
hey, and the fact is like, hey, you got to be efficient
Yeah.
with this. You got to do it in an
No, we do,
hour.
and we have to, in spite of it, there being a lot of magic involved, we still have to obey most of the laws of physics.
Santa, people, a man of time zones and physics. That's you do it all. Well, okay, then it has to be magic. Your stomach has to be magic because I one of the questions I sent you was how do you eat all the cookies and drink all the milk in
Oh,
Like
Well,
my stomach hurts just think. I love cookies and milk, but that's a lot of cookies and that's a
it
lot of
it
milk.
it is a lot of cookies, but the amount of energy that we expend on that night doing the deliveries is phenomenal. I don't even want to think about how many calories we burn,
Hmm.
right?
Fair.
Because we're moving so fast. And yes, it's assisted by magic, but it's still, once I get in a house, I have to do a lot of bending and twisting and putting and stuffing into the stockings, and so all those little snacks, that's energy. It helps.
Hmm.
I burn it off. Sometimes people leave a lot of stuff, and what I'll end up trying to do is pocket it and take it up to the reindeer. So when we're getting ready to move to the next house, I can slip each of them whether they want a carrot or a cookie. The sugar helps them fly. Um, so
Okay.
uh,
Now, just to be clear, you have special reindeer. So if anyone else sees maybe a reindeer out and about, maybe don't feed them cookies. Like that's like you're
that would be, yeah,
okay.
yeah. Don't be you don't want to see the reaction.
I can imagine. Hey, it's
It's
especially if
like,
someone listens to it
you
and they're like, I'm gonna try
remember
that out. See if they like
remember
cookies
what was
too.
that? There was a cartoon movie, Over the Hedge. Remember Hammy, the squirrel?
Oh,
What
yeah,
happens? What
I
happens when you
remember.
give him caffeine?
Just
Okay, that's
uh,
the deer.
that's when actually people used to kind of reference me to him. Like, granted, I've mellowed out for the most part because just the wonders of medication though. But yeah, I could be a good hammy. Let's just say that I have a little too many cups of coffee, a little too many glasses of sugar, and just
There you go.
there you go. Oh man, this is just so fun because I've always wondered, and you know what, Santa, if I can just be honest, real with you, I think I mean, it's hard. People get older. People used to believe in magic, don't. I
Yeah.
mean, you've
Well,
I still believe I've gotten a gift from you at least a couple of times though, and it's I don't know. It makes you feel better knowing you're still there. But it's
just
like yeah, I don't know. What do you do for the adults that grow up?
well,
Is that just part of our journey?
remember that the 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 source of the magic is really in the heart, and it
Hmm.
comes from there. And as long as that's there for you with the spirit of giving, you're going to believe. It's easy to believe.
Hmm.
Uh, I love that there are so many adults who still get joy. They may not believe in the same way that the youngest children do in the absolutes of Santa, but they still believe enough to wave and say hello and get a laugh out of something, or see me in a suit somewhere and want a hug, you know. And that spreading of joy, that little increment that happens when people feel that or see that, is it's really neat. You know, they adults can maintain a belief in Santa, but it's kind of, they have to work a little harder at it,
Hmm.
right? Because
Well,
the world around them tries to convince them that magic doesn't exist.
yeah, no, and that's well, kind of leads to two questions to ask though. I mean, especially nowadays with technology, and I think I even talked with Russell about this.
Hmm.
One of your Santas though, he's a good one. I don't know if you know that, but he's probably the only professional Santa I talk to, but I like to think he's one of the best.
I'll have to get in touch with him.
But how do you convince an entire generation with technology only getting more and more advanced and more people telling you that Santa's not real? How do you try to still connect with those kids? Do you? And
Well,
have you had more challenges?
it becomes increasingly challenging with technology, because so much more is right there in your hand or at your fingertips, or on the screen in front of you, be it a big one or a little one. And one of the things, it took a long time for the elves to convince me to put together to actually participate in social media. And so there is an Instagram and a Facebook, and we try to post things on there from time to time. One of them even convinced me last year to try and start a YouTube channel
Okay.
for things about the North Pole and Santa and things that would happen. And yeah, we got a little success with it. And probably as the year happens and people capture recordings, maybe we'll put some more out there this year.
Okay.
It's not something I've got anybody assigned to manage full time because we're so busy doing other things. For instance, this summer we got a chance. Mrs. Claus and I got a chance to go do a river float in Oregon.
Oh,
Um,
okay. No, you're in my neck of the woods. Okay.
yeah, well, we went down in was it not the Sandy, the Clackamas. We floated part of the Clackamas. Well, we needed to test out some of the new floaties that people are going to be getting for Christmas.
Okay.
And we thought, well, let's go do that. So we contacted a few friends and off we went to do that. It was great fun, except for the part where Santa got stuck in a whirlpool and couldn't get out.
Okay. Well, I'm glad you're here. I'm glad Christmas didn't have to be
Oh no,
canceled.
I would have eventually got out. They would have figured a way to get me out, but
That's scary. Were you scared?
ultimately, no, just a little concerned that I was paddling and not going anywhere. I
Oh
was just
gosh.
going around in a circle.
Just like, help me. Oh my goodness gracious. Well, did I'm curious though, those floaties though, I mean, like, did those go to some good adults though, or were those good children?
Uh, some of each,
Okay.
some of each. They will be going. Yeah. They're I I I like to get out and test when we have some new fishing lures or gear. Every once in a while, I'll post something about doing that. And or off to we did one of the list check days. We went to a state fair, and
Hmm.
there's pictures of us wandering around there. And you know, try as I might, Mrs. Claus can be pretty well disguised, right? Me, this is hard to disguise. That big white beard, I
Yeah.
can't shave it off, right? Because that just won't do.
Do people ever like call you out in the wild, or they're like, "Sir," like again, you're
Oh
just
yeah,
in like
oh yeah,
shorts, or I mean, you can't
oh
wear
yeah.
red. That has
I
to
was
be
on
a thing.
vacation. That's a hard thing because red is one of my favorite colors. Red, green, silver,
Yeah.
kind of gray, but all colors really. But red is a primary. But I went to Maui a few years ago for our vacation break because
Okay.
we all take at least a one nice vacation break every year or try to.
I hope so. Yeah.
And then we went to Maui and it was great. And one morning I thought, I'm gonna get up and walk down the street and go get a latte. It just sounded good. And nobody else in the group was up yet. And let's see, our head elf was with us. Jack was with us, Jack Frost. I think there was somebody else. I don't remember who at the moment. But anyway, so I got up and I decided to go for a walk. And I'm walking down the street, the main drag, and these cars keep going by and honking.
Hmm.
And I'm thinking, what are they honking at? And then finally, a car went by with its windows down and about four children hanging out the windows. Hi, Santa!
Like, shh, I'm being incognito right now.
I looked and I waved and winked and then
Yeah,
held my finger up.
it's cute. That's oh man, that's
Um, but I think I was wearing a bright yellow T-shirt and yeah. Come to think of it, the shorts were red.
I mean, hey, you know what? Maybe the elves can gift you some non. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm a red man myself. I'd be guilty not to wear
Yep.
red, but I don't know. I think it's also important for people to spot you in the wild because
Oh, sure.
it's remind
Uh,
them.
I don't mind. There. You think about it. There are some celebrity type folks who understand that their fame, their fortune, part of their living comes from all those people that recognize them and want to, say hi or shake hands or, maybe get an autograph or something like that. and they're gracious and patient and good with it, and that's the right way to be, right? So long as people are being nice about it. If they're being pushy and grabby and then I just have to remind them, I do make those lists.
Yeah, I check them twice.
Yeah,
You're on the second draft.
be
Like,
careful.
oh man. Well, great. Another segue into another question. I'm
Okay.
rather curious is when do you start this giant machine that is Christmas night? I mean, is it as soon as December
December
26th rolls around?
December 27th.
Okay. Okay.
December 26th, everybody takes a break, relaxes.
Good on you. Yeah.
The elves throw a giant party, and we don't worry about cleaning up until the 27th,
Hey, yo. There you go.
and then we get started. The planning for that next year starts, and the sleigh that is remains at the south is retrieved.
Hmm.
We have to send the reindeer to go get it, a couple of elves, and we just get everything back home. We also, on the 26th and 27th, usually have there's often an item or two that didn't quite make it into the sleigh. And so we've been known, Mrs. Claus and I, to go visit homes on those 2 days and deliver late presents.
Hmm.
We're sorry. The elves didn't quite. There was a lot of confusion, and it happens every year. But this year, this was supposed to be in the sleigh, and it wasn't in the sleigh when I got here. So we figured we'd bring it today.
Good on you. Good on you. And is that how Boxing Day came to be? Is that how?
No, Boxing Day was more a tradition, if I recall correctly, in Europe, specifically in the UK, where the day after Christmas they would box up all the old things they didn't want and weren't using anymore and pass them on to the less fortunate.
That's hilarious. And I think that's well, it's also funny because I think that's the day when you have it off though that you're like I don't because as far as you know, nothing you gave to people has ever gone into Boxing Day, or you wouldn't know because
Oh,
you
I'm sure that it has. I'm sure that it has. We do our best, and sometimes we miss. Sometimes we don't bring what somebody can use or wants.
hmm
Sometimes we think, oh, you know, uh, Julia would like this, but Julia maybe already has one,
hmm
or the parents got one, so they end up with two.
oh gosh,
Uh,
yeah.
so sometimes it happens.
It's let me go back to it though because there's still that's just incredible that you were able to do all this in one night of just constant go going. That's incredible. Well, I mean, you can't tell us too much of the behind the secrets, but I mean, so
No,
when is the vacation time? Do people take it in shifts? Is it
it changes. It changes each year, and Mrs. Claus and I have a little more leeway than the elves do because they're a lot easier to spot.
okay?
It's it long hair, hats, whatever. Those ears, yeah,
Okay,
uh,
that's the
they're
giveaways, the
really
ears.
hard to spot to hide because if they want to go swim, they either got to choose to do it with one of those nice rubber swim caps on to
Right.
hide the ears, or be seen. And some of them do; they get out, but uh, typically we'll go pretty pretty slow and easy through January, so people have a chance to take a couple of days here, a couple of days there. Some of them will take a whole week. The reindeer by uh, January 5th, 6th are rested up and ready to go head back to spend time with their families
Okay.
in various places around the world, and we help them get back to those places.
So I gotta think about for working for one night. Just kind of always mildly curious. What do the elves do? Or I mean, maybe you can't tell me too much. I mean, do they get paid? Are they benefits? Is it like I guess how do the elves? I don't know.
They get paid the same way I do from the
Hmm.
joy that we provide, because it also provides us joy. And you know, the way people work at jobs where they get paid and they have health insurance and all, we don't have need of that. People at the North Pole perform whatever function they're good at.
Hmm.
I think you, in one of the questions you pre-sent me, you asked about uh, not Cornelius, the elf from um,
Rudolph,
the
Jaime,
Rudolph movie,
right? Or Hermie.
Hermie.
Yeah.
Well, that's based on that maybe not based on. That's pretty accurate, except we encourage the elves to find what they're good at. You know, there's not a lot of resistance to, if somebody wants to work with the reindeer, fine, go be a reindeer keeper. If somebody wants to, do we have to have dentists. If somebody's really interested in teeth, great, right?
There you go.
Um, we have some elves that are into healthcare that act as doctors would. If we had to have a doctor here,
Interesting.
it's a lot of elves, and so the variety in what they do is as almost as big as it is amongst humans.
Hmm.
We don't have to worry about lawyers, although we do have a couple of elves that keep watch on and study the human law.
I'll say, hey, maybe you can crack that Coca-Cola case.
We have to make sure that we're not winding up on the wrong side of that ourselves,
Okay.
right?
More of a protection kind of thing, a defense lawyer, if you will. Okay. I like that. I don't want to think people can just sue Santa. I don't like that idea, but
It would be hard because we have no legal standing in any country.
that's true. You are based in the polls though, and it's
Yes.
come get us.
And we are not a recognized nation of our own,
Hmm,
but we operate much like one.
interesting. Well, weird question. Does anyone, or as far as, what if an elf doesn't want to do any of that? What if they don't want to be in the poll? What if they don't want to do any of the Christmas stuff? Not even talking about being a doctor, a plumber. Maybe they want to just live in Hawaii or like how, I don't know. Have you ever had elves that wanted to do that or break away from it entirely?
We have we have a couple, and uh, they became very enamored of science and technology development, and it's hard for them because they do live such a long time. It's hard for them to hide.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the things we've done is, all right, you want to do that to help the betterment of humankind. That's fine. That's it's not toy making, and it's not one of the functions that we need at the North Pole specifically. But there's no reason they can't do something that helps the world, right? They're still giving, right?
Hmm.
If they're doing helping out with research, they may pop into a lab somewhere and whisper an idea in some researcher's ear because they've looked into it themselves and thought, this looks like maybe we should put this out there. And so they'll drop it so that in terms of recorded science and technology, they'll give it away because we don't require income individually. Uh, they don't worry about royalties or things like that. It's, hey, this would be good for people. Let's
Hmm.
let somebody know about it.
That's actually really inspiring, and if anything, I'm kind of like good for those elves because I
Yeah.
mean, we could all use a little bit of help. Could always use something to kind of better humankind.
Well, everyone has a purpose, and sometimes it takes a while to figure out what that purpose is. We had one elf that uh, jumped from toys to the reindeer to the sled tech shop to the advanced candy making to the science labs, the export science labs.
Boy been bouncing. Okay.
Yeah, and it was about 200 and something years before she finally settled on,
Oh, okay.
yeah, she finally settled on just understanding that her benefit was being a generalist and being able to help anywhere.
Hmm.
And so, whatever workshop, whatever unit needs help, that's where she goes.
Interesting. So it's just kind of like again this constant where she's, if anything, it's probably even better for her because it's all that variety. It's
Yeah,
like, oh hey,
yeah,
I do it this year, I do that year.
yeah.
Does she
And
have a name, or can we shout out that elf?
that would be Klutzy.
What?
It's one of my head elves.
I was gonna say, is that actually like her name? Like, did you give her that name, or that was
No,
her?
that was a nickname the elves gave
Oh
her.
gosh. Okay. Klutzy. I love that. If anything, I want to have her
Um,
on the show. She sounds like a wonderful human. Well, elf being, I guess I should say.
uh, I I might be able to arrange that. We'll see. Um,
Well,
if she'll sit still long enough.
you can give her some medication or something. Maybe she can help. We can help her too with that. Well, that's man. This has just been so educational, and it's I. And you know what? To all the naysayers, all the people who really don't think
Hmm.
this is Santa, I think I just,
Hmm.
just got you from the street. I mean, granted, we got you early, but because you're
Yes.
so
Yeah.
busy. But can you maybe tell me my favorite gift just to prove it?
Let's see.
I know this is probably for a good
This,
couple of years in the making though. So by
yeah,
20,
so 20 years or so ago, maybe
about
more,
so. I think that's about
maybe
correct.
more. It's a 12-inch figure,
Okay.
Big Guy and Rusty. There was a cartoon, Big Guy and Rusty, that you really liked when you were a child, and maybe you still do, but you had seen the figure, and your mom was really, she wasn't sure, that was a possibility, but I got word from her that that was something you were really interested in, and so yeah,
That's
you were in a comic store.
that's
Yeah,
A1 Comics. That was
yeah.
correct. That was spot on. It was exactly what happened. I remember I was in the aisle, I grabbed it and I said, "Mom, please, please, please for Christmas." And so did she talk to you? Did she contact you, or were you just there in the shop?
I got a note.
Okay.
I got a letter from her, on your behalf.
A very recent episode. I don't know if you delivered aliens, but I got a chance to actually interview an alien. That's a long story, but let's just leave it
Ooh,
at that. He was a fun being, but we're just talking about kind of like the concept of time and how like just things that maybe we thought would stay forever, things that were like, oh, hey, this is always going to be,
yeah,
don't in the
yeah,
end. And that was one of, I don't have that toy anymore, unfortunately. I remember it was a very fun one. I remember I lost it, but I just remember that that was a very special year, and
yeah.
that did mean a lot to me that you got it for me. So thank you.
Well, you're welcome.
I don't know if I can. I think I can maybe still get it online, but I mean, nothing beats it when you get to open it up on Christmas Day and be like,
Right,
"Hey,
right.
Santa,
Well, and
Santa
the
remembered."
people that the people that are maybe selling them online now know that, oh, hey, there's not many of those left.
Oh gosh,
This is collectible.
I don't even want to
So
look.
they
Just
don't want to
even
give it away. They
no.
want to make as much as they can off of it.
Hey, I don't know if you still
So,
got the patent or the design in it with Santa, but if I've been a good boy this year,
nope,
something,
those
something.
those designs are gone. So
All right, well, at least I tried. But yeah, no, you got you around the money first time, dude. Like I thought you'd like it'd take a minute to kind of get it all revved up, but you just okay,
well,
all right.
you know, I'm not always instantaneous on the memory because there's a lot in there, right? Sometimes it takes a few seconds to dredge something out.
Especially
So,
with all those kids, like that's
oh,
just so. Gosh, man. Well, okay. Now we're gonna do some more fun. I'd say more
okay.
fun questions though. Let's favorite cookie.
The round ones.
Ah, uh, you gotta have one preference more than the other. I mean, just one.
I
Like, come on.
I chocolate chips are good, snickerdoodles are good. A really good snickerdoodle is good. Ginger snaps. Mrs. Claus makes some killer ginger snaps.
Okay.
They're really good. And right up there, probably at the top, is one that nobody in the house wants to try to make except me,
Mm,
is M&M cookies with a special recipe,
okay.
which, by the way, I made a video sometime last year and it's on that YouTube channel
Okay.
that uh, it shows me making them and has the recipe for anybody that wants it. M&M cookies.
We'll make sure to plug in the website though, just because I love me a good cookie. I like my round ones, but I also like my M&M ones too. So that
There
sounds
you
something
go.
to be delicious. Okay, and yeah, actually, you know what? If I think it's a great way to plug, or at least to ask. So if they did want to contact you, did mention social medias.
Oh,
How
sure.
could my people get a hold of you, or the other kids who want to get a hold of you?
Okay. Well, the official House Claus social media tag for Insta and Facebook is at House Claus Santa. I'll make sure you get that written out.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll make sure to put that in the thing right there. Yeah, houseclaws.com though. Okay, I see your information right here. Okay,
That's the website. Yeah.
there we go. Okay,
And then also the YouTube one is just at House Claus.
at houseclaws. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll make sure to plug it in for everybody that wants to either get that cookie recipe or,
Remember, there's no E on Claus.
of course, that if you put any on the claws, that becomes the Disney movie. So yeah, no, it's
Correct.
just
Claus with an E is a linguistic phrase. Without the E, it's my last name.
yeah, Klaus. Exactly. Speaking of Klaus, actually got a chance to watch that Santa Claus movie. I think it was Mel
Mhm.
Gibson was the Santa, or he did the voice of it though. And
Oh, the fat man?
no, 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 see, he's got. I think I talked about this with Russell, your other Santa.
Yeah.
There might be a good chunk of Christmas Mel Gibson movies. Did not Die Hard? Did Lethal
Lethal
Weapon take
Weapon.
place during?
Lethal Weapon, the first one was at Christmas time.
See, I think there's some. No, it's an animated movie. It's on Netflix.
Klaus. Oh, right, right.
Right, right,
They
right.
have
Yeah.
that queued up for me to watch this year.
Okay, I think you'll enjoy it. I mean, at least to kind of good segue into the question I want to ask as far as like representation goes, though. I mean, there are a gajillion Christmas movies.
Oh, wait, maybe I've seen that one.
Yeah,
Is that the
okay.
one where he's off at a distance out in the woods and he's a toy maker? Yes, I have seen it. That was good.
Oh yeah, no, it was well, so yeah, do you have either a favorite representation or at least a movie where like, okay, they did me great in this movie, and maybe a movie where you're like, you know what, they
Oh,
should have done their research more.
I don't know if I have a favorite. Every one of the movies has some aspect of Santa correct. Um, in the Christmas Chronicle, Kurt Russell said something to the effect about the billboard ads 300 pounds. Well, he's right. I'm not as big as everybody thinks I am. And, you know, I couldn't possibly be if I'm burning that much energy on Christmas night, you know.
No, yeah, you'd
Um,
be a fit boy, you know, a little bit
let's
of.
see what else. Audi, the car company, did a commercial a few years ago, which I thought was hilarious. It showed a commercial Santa, and he was really big, and he was looking at one of their cars and really liked it, but he couldn't fit in the driver's seat. So during the following year, they depicted him training with the reindeer and the elves, and Mrs. Claus changing his diet a little bit, maybe not eating quite so many cookies between Christmases.
Uh,
And then the next year, when he got back from the delivery run, when it was all done and over, his present from Mrs. Claus and the elves was that Audi car in red.
oh, oh,
It was beautiful.
that was
And he was
cherry.
all thin and, well, maybe
Very
not
good.
thin, but he had lost all the weight, enough weight to be able to fit in the driver's seat. And Mrs. Claus, really does want Santa to also, it's neat to be able to eat the cookies and burn them off,
Mhm.
but it's also important to be an example of good health, for the children.
Oh, exactly. It's so. I mean, I can imagine. No, you can't really be carrying all that weight though, and be like, hey, I'm the peak of
Yeah,
health though. But I mean, because yeah, that's
yeah,
the fact that still like
yeah.
when you mention that knee injury though, I can only imagine if you
Oh,
worked on that night. Oh my
yep.
goodness. No, thank you.
That was troubling. And then let's see, Tim Allen's Santa is really good. Edmund Gwenn from the original Miracle on 34th Street
Okay.
portrayed Kris Kringle. There's just a lot out there that each one gets a at least some from reality, from
Hmm.
from from the real Santa.
So, I mean, and you probably get this a lot. Have you ever actually seen Bad Santa?
I have not yet seen that one. I've seen little bits of it, and I know that Billy Bob Thornton makes me laugh from time to time. It's not one of his movies that I have seen the whole thing of.
I
Uh,
may recommend adding your list only because when I asked you the getting it wrong, or it's like, I mean,
yeah,
yeah, I don't need to tell you, but human beings are complicated. Sometimes people, like you said, some people who perceive are vulgar and nasty and wrong, but some people have really good hearts, and some people
yeah,
try to do the right thing or try to do the right thing, or maybe they're doing the wrong thing. At the last
yeah,
time they have that change of heart and they want to do the right thing. I
yeah.
think it may, I don't know, give you a good perspective, and I think it's maybe just something you should check out to maybe see, hey, you know what? Maybe this isn't the best representation of Santa as Billy Bob Thornton. Oh man, it's and and I haven't seen this. 'Cause I was talking to Russell about this last
hmm
year. Was I sent you one of these questions? I know you probably didn't know how to answer, but maybe you can help me figure out why this is a trope or why this is a thing. But they maybe it's because you're so jolly, but there are a lot of movies where you got an anger problem. And you and you're taking, I mean, not necessarily on the kids, but I got to finally see, I think it was Silent Night Deadly Night was last year, and that was a very, I'm gonna use the word interesting Christmas movie
Mm,
where maybe I think a guy just had a little too, just kind
a
of
little too much.
snapped and had a little too much fun with a Christmas axe, let's just say that.
Mm,
Why do you think those movies exist?
I think that, people, there are people who are horror and terror movie fans, and they
That's me. That's me.
they they will enjoy their style of movies set in whatever circumstance the filmmakers come up with a coherent, usable story in. And there's TV show episodes where a pack of Santa Clauses rob a jewelry store, or
Mm,
one of them. Just there's a bunch of stuff like that. I don't tend to watch too many of them. Particularly, I'm not a horror movie fan, but then there's also, just as there are those movies where the Santa character is really not a very nice guy, or maybe has snapped a bit. There are also starting to be a few where Santa is the action hero, and those can be kind of amusing. David
right.
Harbour did one last year called Violent Night, and John Leguizamo was the villain in it. It was
Hmm.
wonderfully entertaining, hilarious.
I that's on my list. If anything, I think I'll be fair. I think I'll watch that this year to kind of really get a chance to try that out.
Oh, you should. I told Mrs. Claus if she finds a coat like the one that he used in that movie, I wouldn't mind wearing one. It looks really good and comfortable.
Okay. But like, well, I mean, I haven't seen the movie, but it does have like extra pockets for like grenades and fun
No,
stuff,
it
or
looks like a red leather hunter's coat.
okay,
Just really
okay.
comfortable, fur lined, and yeah.
David Harborough, if you're listening, because naturally he listens to my podcast, though. I got a spare one. Hook Santa up with it, though.
There we
He's
go.
there's a, if I, because it just wouldn't be the season of giving if I didn't give you some recommendations though of some solid Christmas horror. You don't seem like the violent type. I don't want to give you Bloodbath 3. I'm not going to tell you to watch
No,
Silent Night, Deadly Night. Tell you to watch two movies though.
okay.
Uh, I think are at least done well, or at least give a little interesting twist to it. Like the first one is Christmas Evil. I appreciate that movie because
hmm
it's a little weird, but it's about a. Did you ever see the Joker movie with Joaquin Phoenix?
Yes,
Did you like
yes,
that
it was
movie?
very well done. Very
Ima-
well done. That was an amazing job of acting.
Imagine if, so you take the same character and now
hmm
he's Santa Claus.
That
Just
could
kind
be
of
a little
just
twisted.
just kind of he's just kind of going through it though. The man means very well, and just like he just wants the children to be good and to teach
hmm
good things. do think some things happen along the way. Yeah, some things happen
Yeah.
along the way, but I may suggest check it out.
Okay.
If you hate it, please don't send me coal that year or send it so I can
Oh,
tell people I'm not gonna recommend it
I
anymore.
don't send coal anymore. We'll
Oh
get
yeah.
to that in a minute.
Well, actually, I think I know what you're gonna reference because that's the second movie I was gonna recommend is have you seen the Krampus movie?
I have not seen that one yet, and I do need to
I don't know if because we were talking about,
because I
Black Pete
need
and
to.
other Santas, but I mean,
Yeah,
do you ever hang out with that guy? Is he for a
I
guy who
see him.
punishes people, is he fun?
I see him
Fun?
periodically.
Okay.
We do a charity photo thing at Easter every year, or many
Really?
years. Yeah,
Oh wow. Okay.
where it's at a science fiction convention where people people dress up as all different sort of characters, Klingons and Romulans and Star Trek officers and stormtroopers and Darth Vader and aliens and
Right.
bouncing
Predators
beach
and
balls with arms and
lows.
whatever else they might dress up as. And we offer them the as a charity fundraiser the opportunity to have pictures done, which they can then later use for calendars or Christmas cards or put on mugs or whatever. Uh, Pictures with Santa and or Krampus, and we have a great deal of fun with it. We had Harley Quinn came in one day, and boy, she just was having a ball. She was, I think, a little more interested in the picture with Krampus, but you know, that's the way it goes.
I asked Russell, my Santa last year for this though. It's just maybe I'm trying to understand the fascination with Krampus all of a sudden. It's just like maybe it's just like are we I don't want to are we all kinky? Do we just do like
No, I think what's happening is, as I think Russell may have said, it's been a while since I listened to that
Mm,
that episode. Um, I I think that people are increasingly embracing a diverging set of traditions
mm,
for this time of year. I mean, between October and December, there are, I don't know, something like 14 or maybe more religious holidays specific to current organized religions. And there's traditions from religions that are no longer followed anymore. There's traditions from what some might call a pre-religious era,
mm.
right? When people were now we call them pagan. And so I think people are increasingly embracing the divergent set of possible beliefs and the traditions that go with them. And Krampus is one of those, and he certainly is appreciative of it. Um, I do see him periodically. We stay in touch, and with the coal comment a little while ago, I don't deliver coal anymore. There's been too much burning of fossil fuels, coal included,
Oh,
and it is affecting the lower levels of the ice at the North Pole.
your base of operations. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Well, we don't want it to melt, right?
I can imagine that would be a little kind of slow down the Christmas season if you did that.
We decided a few years ago that let's stop doing the coal deliveries, and instead, when in early, actually, what's today is the yeah, it's coming up soon. I'll be having a meeting with Krampus and turn over the naughty list to him, and he takes care of that part for me.
I was just gonna ask, am I doing okay? Am I
Oh yeah, yeah. No, you're
like
you're fine.
not even okay?
You're
Because
fine.
there was that one time, and
No,
okay,
no.
okay,
People make mistakes. It happens.
people break their ankles. It's
Yes,
just that happen. You're right. Oh man, I don't even know if I've ever told you. I don't know if you had an elf there at the scene, but did I tell you how I broke my
you
ankle?
did not, and we did not at the time.
I went to a men's retreat. I started going to this church recently. I think
Okay,
2 weeks. The second week there, they mentioned a men's retreat, and I thought, what better way to get to know the fellas than to go to the
sure.
woods for a weekend and talk about Jesus. So
Well,
when we
that's
got
an
there,
excellent idea in a community.
I was it was fun. The weird thing was I didn't even get paired up with the church. I got paired up with a different church because they just categorized me in the wrong way, or I'm with a completely different group of guys. but I think it was just that was meant to happen because things happened the best way they
Sure,
could.
sure.
But the quote unquote featured sport of the event was archery tag. I know you got to think about it. You're like,
That sounds potentially hazardous.
the moment I read it, I was like, I gotta try this. This sounds fun. It's essentially dodgeball with arrows, but instead of like the sharp pointy tips, we have just kind of rubber marshmallowy tips on the thing. I mean, they'll hurt if you get shot full force with one, but I mean, you're
Sure.
not gonna die.
Mhm.
I played a bunch of games and had a blast because I don't know if you've ever shot another human being with an arrow before, but
No.
let's just say I can
Targets only.
understand like how Legolas felt in Lord of the Rings. It was fun. It was fun. Let's say
Sure,
that.
sure.
I played 3 games too many on it's 4-on-4 squads. We're on a basketball court, arrows in the
Uh-huh.
middle. You gotta grab the arrows, tag the wall that you were on, and then you can start shooting people. The third game we're playing, my entire squad gets wiped out. And I tell myself, okay, Tristan, this is your time to shine. You're gonna take out all 4 of these guys that are shooting arrows at you. I grabbed all the arrows I can, rush for cover, and my left ankle, I crouch, but it rolls to the right.
Uh-oh.
My full force on the ball of my left ankle, and I hear an audible pop.
Ow. Ow.
Just right in half. It like a chicken bone. It was
Not fun.
definitely not fun, but I will say despite it, still hasn't hurt that much. It's been a miracle actually. I've met fantastic people from there. Next week actually, my doctor I interviewed, he's this. I think you actually you probably let me know if you know him. His name is Brian. He's actually a ship captain of an old wooden boat. I'm talking about like Pirates of the Caribbean, like those giant
Wow.
boats. And
Wow.
he's not from the Navy, and
Huh.
we're gonna and just by him being my doctor, I find out and tell him about my podcast, and I he's coming on the show next week. So if anything, I broke
Neat.
my ankle for a free episode. So
There you go.
it's
There
life's
you
fun.
go.
Life's fun.
So, yeah, so that's hopefully there was a lot of quick response and care.
Oh,
So,
well, and I guess yeah, if I can be honest with you, said no, it's man, if you know if you told me there were no elves there, you could have fooled me because there were just some real good human beings there. There was this gentleman. I'm gonna shout him out though if he's listening to, uh, by the name of Dave. He was just so he's a chiropractor,
hmm.
and he the moment I fell down, he rushed and he started like feeling on my leg. He's like, "Does this hurt? Does this hurt?" But not in the way where it's like, "Hey, does this? Let me just bend it this way." Like I could tell you're a
He was
doctor.
diagnosing. Yeah.
Exactly. And I just I melted into him. I'm like, "Just help me. Yes, this hurts. No, this is fine." But he was just the superhero.
Cool.
And it's just I mean, he made sure I was okay. He stayed with me. He took me to the urgent care. We got to hang out all day, and I really got to know the guy. And I don't know if he's been on your list in a minute, though, but I would definitely say give him a present because he's had a very hard couple of years. But
Yeah.
I got to know him as a human being the entire time. I got to essentially do what we're doing now. We just weren't recording. So shout out to Dave if you're listening. Hey, I still think about that day. Thank you for being there for me. But no, they're the right people. Despite all this happening, the right people were there to just
We're
scoop it
there.
up, and
Sure.
this has been the probably most painless break I've ever had. So I'll, you know,
There you
yeah.
go.
Oh
You've had
man,
you've had you've had more than one break.
that's well, technically, this would be my first. I had that sprain, if you remember, but
Yeah.
this is.
Yeah. I've only had one. It wasn't really a break.
Mm.
The I went out in the dark to one of the workshops, and I went to open it, and the door was kind of stuck. And I put my hand up onto a loop, and we had a one of those hasps that you put a pin through to keep the door shut. Well, the pin wasn't there, so I thought, oh, it's open. So I put my hand in there and I shoved my shoulder into the door,
Oof.
and the hasp was between me and the door.
Oh my gosh, no.
So it oh
So did it pop? Did it pop? Did it dislocate it? Like
no,
what? What?
no. It was the little finger was in the
Oh,
hasp.
sorry. I was thinking it was like some with the still. That's ooh. But did
Oh,
it?
I
Did it
was
break it all though, or it did? Or
it did not break. It didn't even cut the skin open. Um, actually, no, that's not true. It did. I did break the skin, but I was stuck there for a few seconds because I couldn't get finger out. So
that's
there was a lot of oh, flaky snowballs.
yeah. I can imagine. Santa's
Oh my,
gotta create his
reindeer
own little
turds.
Christmas
Darn it.
lights. And this has just seriously been just a blast. I know you're busy. I know the Christmas season's just coming up around the corner, so I can't keep you for very much longer.
Okay,
I may ask you a few questions, and then I think
sure.
you can ho head out of here. Is that cool with
Okay,
you, Santa?
sure.
You mentioned reindeer turds. That's a good little segue there. You still how does Rudolph work? Does he still hang out? Is he still
Oh,
leading
he's
the
still
pack
here.
sometimes,
Yeah,
or
yeah. When we need him, he's he'll be with the team. Usually it's the eight, but that he will often fly ahead on our path
okay?
to where we will need a light in a foggy sky. Um, and one of the fun things is that you remember he and Clarice in the movie. That is actually the deer that he ultimately got together with, and their daughter. They have a daughter
Okay.
named Robin,
Such a
and
beautiful name.
her
Okay.
entire every fiber of her fur glows. It's not just her nose; it's her
Okay.
entire body. It's blinding, right? It's completely blinding,
Okay.
but it's diffuse and spread out. And so there's a lot of thought that when Rudolph decides he doesn't want to do it anymore, she's probably going to get the flying lessons.
Shout out to Robin. Hey, like I'm excited to see when we can get
Yeah,
like Robin ahead of there. And that's so neat. That's okay.
yeah,
Hey, you know what? This let this be a time capsule. Let Robin, when if you're listening, if when it's your time to shine, I wish you nothing but the best
yeah.
first night and the best continuation of that. Because I can imagine some of those reindeer, they gotta be pushing at least a long time to the point
Oh
where they
yeah.
might, need to switch off or give it to the kids' job.
Here's the thing. The original names that we had,
Uh-huh.
Dasher, Dancer, Prancer, Vixen, Comet, Cupid, Donder,
Thunder,
Blitzen.
Blitzen.
Um, they nobody lives forever,
Yeah.
and they lived a good long time. Um, but what we did is we kept the names, and so as each new team member came on, they would take a position, and each position has certain skills that they're good at. And the reindeer games that you hear about in the Rudolph movie
Yeah.
or elsewhere are to determine which reindeer is going to be Prancer or which reindeer is going to be Dancer or Dasher or
Interesting.
Comet, right? And it's possible, if people are watching, for people to see one of the reindeer games, right?
Okay.
They're all done in secret, except for this one, which is done high up in the atmosphere every October. Um, what
So
you
has it
know,
passed yet? Like has it
well, yes, it's already done.
okay.
The team is it's usually the last game, and it determines who is Comet and Dasher,
Okay.
right? And so what we do is we hide it because they need a lot of distance and a lot of space to figure out who's the fastest two,
Right.
right? And so we hide that in the Leonid meteor shower. So if you're really good
Okay.
and you've got
Okay.
really good lenses, you might be able to see them when they're doing their game during the Leonid meteor shower.
Oh my goodness, that is something that I actually have some astrologist friends though, or they or astronomy. I can't remember the two, but they have telescopes, and I
There you
gotta ask
go.
them if they saw anything, because
There you go.
that's fun. That okay. That's all
We
right.
couldn't figure out any other way for them to have the space and the room. And if we
Makes
did it at
sense.
any other time, it would be most noticeable. But in a meteor shower, yeah, no, not so much.
Like you said, we gotta pay attention to the laws of physics, and that's the best
Yeah.
way to hide it, baby. That's oof. Well, you know what? Now you got me all messed up because every time I'm gonna look at a meteor shower, I'm gonna think, Santa, what are you doing? Who's who's being what in there? Oh man, seriously, this has been a blast, Santa, and
Okay,
I seriously, please reach out to Russell. I hope he's
I will
doing
do
well.
so.
I haven't got a chance to talk with him though, but he was, like I said, I if I
He's
could.
I think he's getting pretty busy about now. I know he does a lot of work to spread joy.
He does, and he's also just a solid human being. I don't know if I told you, but definitely one of my more popular episodes. And I don't even think I got a chance to tell Russell this though. But my mom personally wanted me to deliver a message to him and say how much the message about her about sorry about you delivering the toys, or like about that specific family that lost either the husband was going to jail, or
Oh yeah,
that story, it made her cry, and she's like that
yeah.
was she loved that episode. So
Well,
just if
he
you see
he's
him,
he's done some great work.
it's and he's a solid human being though. I would say, yeah, if that man could get a break or get any extra little vacation Hawaii time, let that man enjoy
I
it
will see
though.
what I can do.
I think maybe we got time for maybe two more questions though, and then I
Okay.
think I'll let you go, Santa. What about
Yeah.
I was kind of thinking just for the longest time though, especially just for I'm actually just gonna read it verbatim because I think I wrote it best. What's something you wish more people would do or understand more about Christmas?
I I would I would like more people to keep what they feel at Christmas time in their hearts all year round,
Like the joy, like
right?
the
To keep that spirit of giving and kindness and goodness, and the joy that results from it, both personally and in a receiver of your caring and kindness, um, to keep that and do it all year. Um,
I
I
think we could
think
use that,
the
especially with what's
world.
going on in the world. Just
Yes,
we really could
absolutely.
use that.
There is, yeah, and that's one of the things that a lot of the I guess you call them professional Santas like Russell, um, tend to uh, tend to do is that it's their calling basically, and they help out by trying to keep that alive all year long.
I'll do my part. My beard's not white just yet though, but people need more
Well,
magic. People
if you
need more
get to the
kindness in
point
the
that you
world.
want it to be, I can certainly introduce you to a few people that could figure you out helping you with that.
Let me see if I can. Ho 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 ho!
That's a good start.
Merry, Merry everyone. I have
Yeah,
to earn Christmas. I'll get there, but
there you go.
oh,
It's a good start.
yeah, give me a Coca-Cola, please. Just can we still I do like Coke. I will say they make a tasty beverage. Is that still okay to drink though? Or if I'm Team Santa, I have to
Oh
strictly be
yeah,
a milk cookie kind of
yeah.
guy.
No, you don't have to limit to milk and cookies or eggnog or any of that.
Are you a
So
Pepsi guy? Is that what they don't
no,
want you to know? Is that
no.
okay? All
I
right.
I I I I do not endorse any of the above. Um,
Is that
I am
coming straight
a
from your legal team?
equal opportunity consumer. Yes,
There you
the one
go.
of the
There you
elves over
go.
there in the corner is waving madly, big red flag. Stop, stop, don't say anything.
I may, I was like figuring out the episode title for this one. I may or may not say Santa likes Pepsi. I don't know. I don't want to get you in legal trouble, but that'll
Yeah.
be fun when I think about the episode title for this one.
Well, I, the the thing that I enjoy the most, um, and even if it were available year round, would not drink it all year round. I would only drink it in the holiday season.
Okay.
From like maybe sometime in November through late December, early January is eggnog. A really good, thick, creamy eggnog. That's my favorite holiday drink.
Okay.
Um,
All right. It's fair.
um,
Now, here's the real question. Are we talking about an adult eggnog or is this just a nice
both,
proper answer?
both,
Proper answer there. There you
because
go.
the people think Santa might not be a proponent, but if you're keeping it limited, there's nothing wrong with adult beverages.
Right. And you're
Uh,
not drinking it while you're delivering toys. That's the most important thing.
no, no, that would be bad.
Yeah.
That would
There
be
you
really
go.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. So yeah, here you go. Santa
Although
does not endorse.
I did catch one of the elves trying to spike my eggnog last year, or my hot cocoa thermos in the sleigh
Oh
with
boy.
some of the uh, uh, Kahlua rum, cacao rum. It's a chocolate flavored rum,
Oh
which
boy.
goes really well with hot cocoa, but not when you're driving.
Yeah, yeah. I
Right.
bet I bet he might have gotten a visit from
Oh,
Krampus later that year.
there was a talking to.
I can imagine. I can imagine. Well, let's let that be maybe a rule for we don't spike Santa's drink. Maybe at
No,
least not on
no,
Christmas Day or
no,
night. Just we don't
no.
do that. We don't do that at all.
Although
Respect.
I will tell you, the folks down under in Australia, New Zealand, they often will leave a beer out with the snack. Um,
So how do you? Did you just take the beer with you, or how does that work?
I try to sip just a little, but again, I'm burning so much energy that it it burns off, and of course they've left a snack with it, so uh, you know it goes pretty quick.
Okay.
And
I
you know,
well,
I
hey,
do sometimes have a hard time drinking all of it.
I can like I said, I can imagine. I mean, granted, I know you're burning off a gajillion calories, but it's just like that's just a lot of intake. And
Yes.
man, grant I know I keep mentioning the broken ankle, but like I just in general like don't like getting in and up out of my seat. I just like to do that. The house. Like man,
Hmm.
you the strongest knees. I have to give you. I can only
Thank
imagine
you.
the workouts you must begin.
Thank you. Yeah,
Well,
it does keep me. I've actually, to Mrs. Claus's pleasure, I've actually lost some core weight this year.
hey, I bet she's pretty happy about that one.
Starting to show that effort of trying to be a better, healthier example.
I know I keep saying we got two more questions, but every time you keep saying an awesome answer, I keep like, hey, by the way, what about this one? For is you've been married to Mrs. Claus for some time. We're talking about almost hundreds, maybe thousands of years at
A
this point.
long, long time.
How do you keep the marriage so healthy and fresh? I mean, that's a long time to be married to somebody.
Well, when you love someone, people fall in love, and there's that fascination, the attraction, the period where everything is magic and sparkly and together all the time. But if you truly love someone, that takes one day at a time,
Mm,
because there are there days when I'm in trouble? Absolutely. Mrs. Claus is in charge at the North Pole, period.
okay.
Right. And I can be very childlike. I get distracted easily. The elves
Mm,
will take my phone away so that I can't respond to people for a while
right.
because they need to make sure I'm getting stuff done. But that's all in a way of saying relationships are not a given. You have to work at them,
Okay.
and and it's a choice. Been in love with this wonderful woman for so long, I can't remember how long, or even at times, I'm not sure where we met because she's with me so many times in so many places. We might have met at one of the markets years ago, lots of years ago.
I can imagine. Like, good for you for remembering,
Yeah.
because I can imagine if it took that long ago, I'm like, we met somewhere. That's,
Yeah.
you just showed up one day. You just like, bam, you came with the suit.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, that's
I can tell you this,
okay.
that similar to other men who, when they meet their eventual bride or life partner, whatever they want to call it, there was a point at which I looked at Mrs. C and she took my breath away. She was the most beautiful thing in creation to me,
Man.
and she still is.
I tell my wife that we've been doing 6 years this year. Granted, I'm still working at the 1,000 year mark like you, but she she was she was special the day I met her, and she's still special now. So
Good.
actually, I think I hear her waking up though. I hear her getting ready and whatnot.
There you
But
go.
Santa, I think I'm all questioned out though. I've sat on your
Okay.
lap plenty of times though. I can only imagine I'm getting the seat warm, just staying here asking all these questions. This has been a blast, and I maybe we can do this again if you got time. I can only imagine you're only gonna get busier and busier, but seriously, thank you so much for coming on here.
Yeah, between now and Christmas, it would be a very short appearance because there's
Yeah,
not a lot of time left.
no, absolutely, absolutely. But no, this is just thank you for the time being here, and
You're most
I
welcome.
I'm always we have to decide. I know this is hard. I put you on a lot of spot, ask you a lot of questions. All-time favorite Christmas song. You gotta have one, at
Oh
least
boy,
one that rises above all the rest.
you know how many thousands of Christmas songs I know?
You know what? We only ask the hard questions here, my friend. I'm sorry. It's just,
Well, I think I have to look it up. I think the right now, because he's high in my mind,
mhm.
I would say The 12 Days of Christmas by Jimmy Buffett,
I
which is not your traditional 12 Days of Christmas, but it's really fun.
I can only imagine. It's a Jimmy Buffett 12
Yeah,
Days of Christmas.
yeah.
And you know what? I can appreciate that man, especially like I know he's passed recently. Just bless him. I know he's probably drinking margaritas in heaven with God and with God. I just can hope so. But I'll make sure I maybe give that a listen to.
There you go.
Okay. So there you go,
Wherever
everybody.
wherever he's sailing, he'll be listening to it.
Santa Claus likes Jimmy Buffett. That's the episode title. That's it right there. Okay.
There you
Well,
go.
I'm a cheeseburger and this is paradise. But this is you're not even a person. You're like an entity. You're like an ordinary Christmas entity. But
Well, there you go.
you've shared your extraordinary story and this has been it. Thank you for your time and I don't know, you got any last minute things to say before we cut out this sleigh ride?
No, not really. Just everybody be good.
All right.
I'll,
Yeah.
I'll see you all at Christmas time.
He's watching. Remember, always. Have a good night, everybody. Take care. All right. And thanks, everybody, for listening to another episode of Ordinary People, Extraordinary Stories. If you're interested in supporting the channel, please click the description below to look into our Patreon. I want to give a shout out to our exclusive patrons who've been donating to the channel. Again, I want to give a shout out to Courtney, Tamsin, and Richie. Without your help, we wouldn't be able to make these fine episodes, so thank you again. And for anyone else that's listening that believes they or they know somebody who has a very extraordinary story to tell, please feel free to email me at OPESpodcast@gmail.com. That's OPES, acronym for Ordinary People, Extraordinary Stories, OPES, podcast, one word, at gmail.com. We're looking forward to hearing from you, and again, thanks for listening, guys. Take care.